Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Hey.
Welcome to the 170th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with Andrew Norman, Brandi S, and Peter Barclay. Peter, this is our first time having the honor of having you on this program. I'd like to say thank you. I love you. You're just such a positive guy to be at meetings and have part of my life. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Peter?
Definitely. Thanks for having me, Milan. Good to meet you guys. Brandi and Andrew, it's a pleasure. My name's Peter Barclay. I've been sober since February 6th of 2024. I was in treatment at the beginning of the year there, up in Kelowna. Yeah, that's really about it, man. I'm just living life kind of joyous and free right now, and I've been through enough to know that I'm where I need to be. So I'm still enjoying the learning curve and the knowledge of recovery, and I'm here to continue that journey. So it's really great to be here, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys. So
shout out to Options for bringing us together and for
Options Kelowna.
Initiating our recovery, man. I met Peter because he went to the same treatment center as me 4 months after me. And I saw him first at an alumni meeting.
Gabriel?
Yeah, Gabriel was a big part of it. Adam
Love that guy.
helped me out a lot as well, and
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience for me.
That's awesome.
And okay, so there's a question that I ask everybody the first time they come on the show, Peter. What was the pivotal moment that the program sparked a recovery fire in your heart? You know, where it went from I have to I love to.
I would say it probably hit me about 4 weeks into treatment. I hadn't really I just experienced the EAA journey in treatment. When I first arrived there, I was dead set against it. Obviously, I thought I didn't have any faith or belief in any sort of 12-step program. But I think when it actually I tasted, it's like I tasted a little bit of a promise or two before I actually really knew what the promises were. Something broke inside me, and a lot of people describe that a different way, whether it's a spiritual awakening, a connection. I just know that within myself, something opened, something cracked, something broke, and something came out or came in. I still can't even explain it. I felt like I was lost and kind of hopeless, so that left me and was replaced by what I'm growing with now. So that's really the best I can describe it as far as a physical and mental dismissal of something. I feel like yeah, something just broke inside me, and it became I wanted to stop because I was sick and I wasn't going to live very much longer. I felt, and now I wanted to live. Like there was something that just made me want to continue on a better path, a better life. I felt I deserved it. I was worth it. So
I got goosebumps when you were talking about it. It took me right back to those magical moments, man. Yeah. I think that was pouring out of you, man. Instead of into you. You know, I think that there's the magical light and love in all of us, right? And we got to polish these diamonds to set it free. Okie dokie. So today's topic is fear and frustration with sharing your process and thoughts with others. The imposter syndrome. How am I worthy? Mr. Andrew N. from Virginia, would you please share with us what it means to you?
I'm not even going to go there. I love you. Yeah, Brandi, you know I'm from Virginia, not West Virginia, right? We just have to laugh. It's so funny. I love you, Milan. Hey, thank you. Welcome, Peter. Thank you for being here. This is really special. Thank you for giving us your time and coming on here and chopping it up with us, because we get a lot out of these we call them like condensed meetings. So for you to come on here and be vulnerable with us is a big deal. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
You bet.
And you went to options, so you know about the poster, right?
Which poster?
What is it? That in which I believe becomes greater. What is
That's
it?
which we focus on
the
becomes
whiteboard.
greater. Yeah.
There we go.
I remember
There we
that on
go.
the whiteboard downstairs. Correct, sir. Yes, I do remember that.
It was funny. I was talking to Milan in like a little pre-meeting, and I said, so he knows the poster. He knows the poster. We've heard all about that poster. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The bloodline is good. So this thing, am I worthy? This is a deep one. I'm glad you picked this, Peter. I really got excited when Milan texted me with this, but it has, that term, am I worthy? And we'll go into am I worthy of what here in a minute, but it followed me from my absolute rock bottom to now, where I have over 40 months clean, that term has followed me. And it's almost like, when I started thinking about it, it's like a mirror that I hold up to my life, right? And I could compartmentalize that, like my life choices, is my growth, my relationship to the fellowship and the people in it, to God, right? My higher power, I choose to call God, right? I'm always holding that mirror up to see if I'm worthy of it. And now that I've gotten a little clean time under my belt, like, it's different. That term is different for me. It's not a term that I'm beating myself down with anymore. It's almost like a term I can pump myself up with today, because of the work I've done, right? Doing the step work, the fellowship, my sponsor, people who prayed me into these rooms and, showed me the way, loved me until I learned how to love myself, picked me up out of the gutter, right? And gave me a place to eat and live and stay, and just work on me for a little while. And, my worth was never really destroyed, right? It was hidden under my disease. It was completely hidden. And looking back at it now, when I was coming out of it early, I didn't think there was any way to uncover it. I didn't think it was something that you could uncover. I thought I just had to build something new, but my worth came back, and and I'm not a different person. I am, but I'm not, right? Like, I finally found out that person that I should have found out who I was a long time ago, and so the rooms don't ask me to prove me being worthy, right? I don't have to prove myself to be here in these rooms. It doesn't matter which one you attend. You don't have to prove yourself to be there. At least in the one I attend. I don't go to a bunch of them. So I know Milan is bisexual, and I love that. I think it's amazing. But like, I go, the one that I attend, like, I don't have to prove myself to be there. I just have to have the desire to stop using substances, right? And so that's what I have. That's what y'all showed me to have. And so I run with it, man. I run with it. And the things that I'm good at now, I can give those things out and get them back tenfold, love and hope, those things that I like to give out constantly. So again, Peter, thanks for being here. This should be a fun time. And yeah, we'll pass that to you, Brandi. What does this mean to you?
I got excited when I saw this topic, because I get excited over most of them. But this one in particular, it's ironic that I'm doing work with my sponsor right now, who is also bisexual. That's so funny you said that. But anyways, doing this work, and it's about like something like about my leg and about the stuff I deal with in the midst of everything. Anyways, I don't know if it was Andrew was saying or if it's the topic itself, but I remember in the midst of like my infection and just nothing going right, like, am I not worthy? Am I not worthy to be like, to be healed, like, physically? And that all stems from like the self-doubt I've had in so long. So to be able to, like, pick this topic apart and like, what is it? I heard just a couple of years ago for the first time the imposter syndrome phrase. Like, wow, that just completely, it like puts a word on all these feelings I've had for so long for certain things that is it just makes more sense. So to be able to sit here with you guys and talk about it more and kind of like hear other people's feelings on it, I'm excited about it. I really am, because you can put whatever name you want on it. I think we all deal with this in one way or another, and one time in our life or another. And so I'm excited for it. I'll just leave it right there, though. I feel like there's a lot.
Woo!
Love you, Brandy.
That was amazing, Miss Dell.
Miss
And
Dell.
Peter.
Can I call you Free?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My husband would disagree on
Yes.
that one.
Every time you say Free, Peter, I'll say Dell. So let's go.
Free.
Dell. Yeah.
Okay, you're up, Peter.
Yeah. So Milan first mentioned to me when he said, what sort of topic would you like to talk about? And he said, usually it's something that you've realized or came to realize or something I've been working on. And selfishly speaking, I wanted to kind of do something that I was mulling over a lot in my mind a lot lately. And I wanted to get away from kind of the warm fuzzy jackets of the typical conversations, gratitude, acceptance, that sort of thing. Nothing wrong with it. Obviously, the disclaimer that I'm going to put out there, these are all words and phrases that are part of me now. So I wanted to move into something that I found a little strange, I suppose. It's more with me, the imposter syndrome comes from me more so than being judged from other people. I find that I will look at someone's comment or body language even as judgment. When I know it's my ego and my inability to shed. I mean, my ego can be, I'm a piece of shit, you're not worthy, you don't deserve this, all the way up to like, why isn't everyone talking about me? It's all about me right now. Why don't people understand that I'm going through something and they should be nice to me? Or like, I'm not much, but I'm all I talk about sort of mentality.
Rest.
Like, so when it came to imposter syndrome, I started to feel a little bit of that because it's people coming and asking my opinion on something, and then I'll explain what I did and how I dealt with something. But while I'm doing it, there's this little nagging voice in my head. Well, who the hell are you to say that this is the way you do it? And what I need to start to kind of tell myself is that everyone does it in a different way. It's just a suggestion. Even the steps are a suggestion. It says that in the big book. This is just a suggestion. So I have a hard time with that part of the ego to be completely free of it. I don't know if it's entirely possible for a human to be of ego. I think there's always going to be some sort of anything from selfishness to selflessness as well, where um, if I'm taking like doing a step 10 with myself and I'm just over judgmental about the little things I may have done throughout my day, that's also my ego saying, well, you did this little tiny reaction to something and that was bad. That was a negative thing, when it's just kind of human nature. And I need to realize that that little spark that I was explaining at the beginning when Milan asked me when I felt how I felt that this process in my heart. I mean, I need to almost go back to that beginning point over and over and remember that I am worthy. I do have value. Um, I guess it's just more or less how people would view me if they're actually coming to me for advice or to listen to my story or something like that. And out of all the people in the world, the big one for me is, out of all the people that don't make it, that relapse over and over, or actually don't make it into the rooms, what makes me so special? That big question that everyone probably asks themselves, like, why me? Why me in that 9, 10, 12, 14% or whatever they say the recovery, why do I deserve that? How does that happen? And I'm not an extremely um religious person, just to put it under one umbrella term. I know spirituality is a whole other discussion. So it wasn't necessarily that angle, like I was chosen or that sort of thing, but something did break, and I just sometimes wonder, well, why did that break in me? And that's where this imposter syndrome thing I started to think a lot about it. It wasn't like I dwelled on it to the point where I was resentfully attacking myself and but it's definitely one of those topics that have stuck around in my head for a few months. So yeah,
I love that.
there, I
That's
guess.
dope.
Awesome. And you know, like, man, the second I saw what you sent me, my instant thoughts were fear and insecurity, you know. And when I rolled into options, there wasn't a moment in my life pre options that I recognized addiction as a disease. And so, as an addict, if you don't see it as a disease, you see it as a weakness, a moral weakness. Like, and so by the time I rolled in to options, it was like, man, my feeling of self-worth was like sub-zero. It was like there's like, you know, there's the dirt bags, and then I'm like not even, you can't even see my other hand because it's so low, you know. And so there was a process where, you know, like, and Shirley was, or yeah, Shirley was the one at options for me who really had a way of saying that we aren't our disease. Like, I don't know if she had that effect on you, Peter, when you were there, but for me, she was really instrumental at that kind of like, okay, we are now starting with, you know, the new recovery Milan, you know, versus the old one. And like, because that low negative situation of self-esteem made me not worthy for anything, let alone sharing who I was to help others, you know. And unfortunately, I believed her. Unfortunately, I started to change, and you know, and I've just seen so many times how other people's recovery has helped me, and my recovery has helped other people. And to me, it's like, you know, like faith without works is dead, but it's also reciprocal. If there is no works, I'm not sure my faith would still exist, you know. So my faith in myself really grew inside that. And so I was excited to come here today. I was excited to have you, Peter. And Andrew, you want to throw off the first question to Brandy or Frida?
Absolutely. Coming to you, Friedel. All right. How do you know that you're worthy of recovery today, Brandy? Tell us.
Man. So, you know, I guess I don't know all the time. I don't, I don't believe all the time. You know, I got to go back to also another podcast on here. And there was a girl that said, her dad told her that the ones that stay clean or sober are the ones that God chose to share the message. And that has always stuck with me. But for me, it's like, you know, I remember, like, I think it was for, I don't know if it's my DOC or all the way around, but it was like 2% make it. And I was like, I need to be that 2%. And but I didn't know if I believed it at the same time, because I come from a long line of recovery and addicts and alcoholics, and recovery and alcoholics. Like, it was kind of like a 50-50. And but I do believe that I am worthy of my recovery and the life that my recovery is building for me today, because I can look at my kids and see that. You know, I can look at them and know that, like, even if there's a time that I may doubt my worthiness in my recovery or as a whole, um, I look at them and I realize that, like, no matter what I go through, it's worth it, and it's all worth it. And I can, this can be happening. You know, like, I remember my mom told my husband that when I went to treatment that, you know, she may have to do this like 3 or 4 times. And that was just like, first pissed me off, and second just put more not fuel to my fire, like more ambition in my recovery, because I didn't think that maybe I didn't think I wanted to be clean because I didn't think I could. You know, I used for so many years and so many times, like, I just kept going back. And it's like, maybe that's just not my story. Maybe I'm just not gonna, maybe I'm always gonna depend on this. You know, am I ever gonna be able to go a day without it? And you know, there's so much that I've gotten from my recovery, and in the process of not believing I'm worthy to knowing that I'm worthy. You know, like I don't have to be born with, you know, certain genetics or drive a fancy car or make a whole bunch of money to be worthy for something like this. This isn't like a status of like the popular kids, you know, like it's something that I know, and I put the work into it because I try to just believe it. And as much as I'm, you know, for just the not using in my recovery alone, or even just the not using, we'll say, I I'm very ambitious, and like that's a, I mean, it's a goal. Now. I don't want to use. I don't want to use them. I do all the work, but all my other worthiness can still act out just the same. You know, like when it comes to, okay, I didn't use drugs yesterday, but did I say anything that maybe helped somebody? Did I acknowledge to myself that I love myself? Like, there's a lot of things like, did I say something stupid? Like, does that person judge me? Or, you know, there's those kind of things still come all about, you know, and, uh, man, I've come far. Nobody knows the chaos in my head so much, but I can tell you from me in my head that I've come far on how I would always think. And and my recovery has given that to me, because there's things like I didn't think that I could do. And if I ever, like, I know I've done this and I'm doing this and I can keep doing it. And you know, I talk about the you know, alcohol and addicts in my family, but I don't always talk about, which I should, the recovery in my family. There's a large amount of recovery in my family, and that's another way for me to look at, like, oh, I can do this. You know, is instead of, it's like the mindset of like, oh, this is my destiny. Like I was born an addict, I'm just going to be an addict. To we do recover, and so for me, it's like I have to believe it. I got to believe that I can. And sometimes I got to remind myself. So I hope that answers the question.
Randy, that answered it beautifully. And your family owns half the damn campus.
Yeah, I'm
You know what I'm
telling
saying?
you.
So they know, I mean,
I need a
we know
punch card. Like
recovery.
I would have been like, next time's free at this point. Like, where's our bench with our placard on it?
That's right. We've talked about it before, Peter, where like she's like her family, a long line of her family has been to the same treatment facility,
And
and like
worked
she
at
pretty
it
much
Okay.
too.
works there, like pretty much owns a
Yeah.
hall
Nice.
in the
Yeah.
Okay.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you,
I
Mr.
got in,
Peter.
and I got in right away too, by the way. So I didn't have to wait. That's my only
So
benefit.
so how do you, Peter, know that you're worthy of recovery today? How do you know you're worthy of recovery?
Uh, yeah, no, it is a really great question. I mean, over time, I mean, I know I'm worthy. I think every human is worthy of recovery, living a beautiful life, joyous and free. I mean, I have no, I don't doubt the fact that I'm worthy. I I more struggle with that healthy fear of being strong and worthy, or maybe mindful and worthy. And I mean, there's moments when my worthiness is tested in so much as the like relapse, or staying sober, or staying in the path to recovery. Um, Worthiness can, in my mind, I find worthiness can be viewed in a few different ways. Like I think I have value. I think every human being has value. We're amazing creations. The worthiness struggle that I deal with is more of a strength thing. It's hard for me to, at times, to look at the success rate of this disease and feel like I'm strong or worthy enough to fight through it. Um, I did it yesterday, and I did it the day before. I mean, that's all I go on. Day by day is it's my mantra. It's all I have, really, and it's all that I want. I don't want it to be difficult. I don't want it to be hard. I just try to make it as simple as I can. Being addicted and being an alcoholic is hard. That was hard. It's a hard life. People think you're lazy and it's just easy sitting around drinking and do drugs all day, but it's a hard, shitty life. And getting sober and being in recovery is a hard, beautiful life. So I just had to choose my hard. Everything else was going to follow behind it. So as far as value, I feel valuable and worthy to be sober. My imposter syndrome. The more I think about it, and the more I've been listening, I don't know if it's exactly the right term, but I'm going to just stick with it. It's just that it feels like I'm, because I am someone I have never been. So sometimes I'm
Mhm.
feeling like I'm living life as someone that I'm not. I'm still getting
Yeah.
used to this Peter that I am. The Peter that I was is right beside me 24 fucking 7 waiting for me to screw up. And I know he's gonna be there probably for the rest of my life. I'm a new man, I'm a new person, and that person I'm still getting to know. I don't know his ins and outs as much yet. I like how he reacts to things now. Sometimes I'm curious as how is he's going to react to something as it's unfolding in front of me. That's kind of where this worthiness thing sort of like, how are you going to handle this now, Pete? Like how are you going to handle this situation? I just broke my femur in the end of April. I had
Holy
this
shit.
freak accident at a
Yeah.
yeah, it's
That's
pretty
crazy.
crazy.
He
It was a
was
freak accident.
What did
volunteering
you
at an
do?
AA roundup.
I was volunteering at
Oh
an AA
man.
roundup. I'm a cook by trade, so we needed someone to cook, and I was the only one with food safe. And long story short, it's this big roundup for our district, and I said, "Yeah, I'll volunteer, no problem." And I was in the kitchen all day, and da 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 da, a couple turkeys and ham and all the fixins and that sort of thing. And I was heading out of the kitchen to go wash my hands, take my apron off, and go listen to a couple speakers. Someone had spilt grease on the back hallway of the kitchen, and it's basically laminate on cement, and both my feet went straight out from under me.
Oh.
And the surgeon said I couldn't have fallen any more perfect on my hip, and it just snapped my femoral, not snapped, but
Oh my
fractured my
God.
femoral neck of my femur. So I got a rod in my leg and a pin in my hip permanently. Yeah. So
Wow.
Woo.
A femur,
no
man?
good deed go. Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, you went hard, man. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
wild.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no deed goes
I'm
unpunished.
glad
So
you're okay.
teach me for
Yeah.
volunteering. I'll never do that shit again. But
You walking
They're like, don't
okay? You
ask him.
walking?
Don't ask
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Nobody asked Peter to volunteer.
I know you ain't flying nowhere
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, it's titanium, so apparently it doesn't react as bad, but
Yeah, I got titanium in my leg. It doesn't react to it.
yeah, there we
Look
go.
at y'all, twinsies, y'all two.
Yeah, there we
Y'all are
go.
just fun. All right, cool. So I'm going to ask Milan. You right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Well, you were done, Peter. I did not cut you off or anything. I didn't mean
No,
to
I,
mess.
I was just gonna slightly finish by saying
Yeah.
how I reacted to that situation proved a lot to me.
Mm.
That's mainly where this worthiness thing has been on my mind,
Man.
because I was
Mm.
literally in a bed in my man cave, which wasn't so bad. It's nice and everything down there, but 4 or 5 feet from the chair that I drank in for a long time. I used to
Ooh.
isolate when I drank and did all that sort of thing, staring at me for day in and day out because I couldn't move. That was something that I didn't drink. Like, I did not drink through that. That's got to tell me, like, that's kind of a major sort of issue. So
Yeah,
that's where this whole thought process kind of came from, that whole experience
I
as well.
love
So
that.
I was just going
That's
to
a
finish on that. Just how I handle things now are completely, I don't know what I would
that's a
have
big
done if
deal.
I was drinking if that happened. I don't even know if I would have made it out the other end. So
Yeah, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm so sorry I cut you off there, buddy.
it's all good. No, I was pretty well running her up. Thanks,
But
Andrew.
yeah, that's crazy because if you're sitting in that spot, it's almost like you're like testing yourself if you're going to go sit back in that seat or not, right? You want to stay in this seat or you're going to go back and sit in that seat,
100%.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well,
Yeah.
and
It's
I
tough.
wanted to say something real quick on that. When I broke my leg and I couldn't do anything for myself, and I was in the midst of my addiction, and I was like, this is when I'm going to get clean, right? I'm going to not use this as a beginning because I can't get it for myself. I
Right.
didn't want recovery because I got it. I found a way to
Yeah.
get it, whether I was wheeling over somewhere. So
Mhm.
for you to go through something like that and to recognize that you really do want this and you want to be sober, you want recovery because, I know my addict brain found a way to get it.
Yeah.
So
Every
that-
Right
time.
on. Yeah.
Every time.
Mhm.
Great point. Great point, Brandy. All right, Mr. Milan, I'm going to ask you. How do you know that you're worthy of recovery today? Tell us about it.
Man, so like I think I touched on that low self-worth feeling in my intro there, but that took a transition when I was in treatment in order to get reconnected to the universe, right? Like that feeling of no worth was almost entirely from being disconnected from the universe. And it's like that conscious contact and reconnection that's occurred over doing the steps, like, I mean, literally the steps are designed to reconnect us with our higher power. Mine's the universe, that's all. And that connection creates an unwavering feeling of knowledge that I am worthy and that we all are. Like, I don't think there's a human being that isn't worthy. I think there's people that are really disconnected, like I felt, and there can be the reconnection, and it still feels real tenuous some days. It feels really stretched out. But there's no part of me that thinks that this isn't where I'm supposed to be compared to there. I went to a meeting 2 days ago, and a friend who's really been struggling, like, I didn't see her all summer, saw her at one meeting 2.5 weeks ago, and she was looking gaunt. And I saw her on Wednesday night, and she's looking like a death's door. And like, I'm telling you right now that it's like there is no part of me that thinks that this isn't where I'm supposed to be. I can't even say how valuable I feel like my recovery is. And now it's really beyond feeling worthy for my recovery. It's feeling grateful for it and connected to it. Like, like the sense of the question of worthiness is just, it doesn't even equate into my life about it now. Like, I really truly believe we're all worthy. Are people ready to be honest, open-minded, and willing, and do the work? Like, that is the threshold. Is that, have they, are, like, is this something that they really want, and are willing to do the work for? Because I think everybody who puts that effort of going through the steps is going to have some profound change. Like, I don't think if you do an honest set of steps with a sponsor and remain in the program focused on recovery long enough to do that, that you can remain unchanged. I just don't believe it. Like, when they start the AA, how it works, and it's like, rarely have we seen a person who's thoroughly followed our path fail. Like, that's one of the most true statements I've ever heard inside the program. Like, if somebody has thoroughly followed the path, then you're going to have some kind of change. Okay, that's all I got. I love you.
And just like with the one that the fellowship that Brandi and I frequent,
Yeah.
it says, I believe on page 79, it says, we have never seen a person live the Narcotics Anonymous program relapse. Close
Yeah.
quote. Like, done. Like, if you live it, but living something is
Yeah.
that
That's
you
right.
got to
That's
eat,
thoroughly
breathe.
following, man. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do I know that I'm worthy of recovery?
I got one thing I just want to say. This was I just learned this the other day, is that when they say God of our understanding, in 1930s, if you had a dictionary and you looked up understand, it means knowing through experience. The God of a knowing through our experience.
It's a great
Isn't
point,
that
man. That's
fucking
beautiful.
amazing?
That is beautiful. That's beautiful.
I
It's
love fun facts.
That's
little
the fun
sizzle,
fact of the
little
week,
sizzle
man.
for the pan, little sizzle for the pan. I like it. I like it. So how do I know that I'm worthy of recovery? Well, I kind of wanted to jump it off with that question. It's a kind of a good jumping off point. I didn't think I belonged here. I did my best to complicate my way out when I got here. I thought I used too much. Then I went through a period where I didn't think I used enough. I didn't think I used as much as y'all. I just didn't think I was deserving of anything because I really wasn't doing anything right for, 20 plus years coming into this place, man. Just lying, cheating, stealing, not giving a shit about who I was doing it to. But early on when I didn't have any really thought process about this thing. I was just trying to survive in that healthy way. Now, um, looking back at it now, like I know for a fact I'm worthy of this thing because I was given so many things right when I got here. You know, that main thing that got me here was that gift of desperation, man. I was given that.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't do anything to get that. You know, I ran my shit into the ground, uh, you know, mind, body, and soul using. And so I didn't do anything to get that gift of desperation. I could have just gone out of here without that gift, without that point of like, okay, I'll get in that car and go to treatment, right? Like, I didn't need to be afforded that, but I was. So, you know, I have to like believe and lean into the things that I can't explain today, Peter. Like, I have to lean into that shit that I can't explain, you know, and the stuff that I can't see. Um, you know, I was talking to him a lot about this the other day. Like, think about this: we have to believe in those things that we can't see. Like, we believe, you know, we can't see the wind, but you don't see a bunch of us out here like peeing into it, right? You know, like we know that the wind is there. We don't see it, but we believe in it, right? We know that the wind is there. It's kind of a funny point, but I was given that gift of desperation. So I latch on to that. Whenever I feel like I'm not worthy, man, I just go back to that point. And that's another, I think that's why it's a good point for us to revisit that point too. Cause it's like, hey, dude, this gift of desperation is a gift, you know, wherever you're at right now, it's not there, you know, and it can always be worse. And so, you know, I've seen my worth proven in action, right? As I did these steps, as I worked these steps, as I got some clean time, you know, my clean time, you know, that every time I was able to talk to another addict and help them out, like it showed me that I'm doing this process and I'm doing the right things and I'm worthy of being here. And not only am I worthy, I can kind of thrive in this environment, you know, and I'm not used to thriving in anything if I'm not on drugs, man. It's always tied to that substance and tied to that transactional relationship, whatever it was. And so I see, you know, and another reason I know I'm worthy is because I see how people treat me today. People treat me different. And that's because of how I act today. I act like I'm supposed to for the most part, right? For the most part, I act like I'm supposed to, especially in a situation I'm supposed to, like at work, you know, or whatever it is, man. You know, I can chum it up with the guys with the best of them and have a good laugh. But when it's time for business, it's time for business. Um,
Yeah.
so I can give what I thought I mean, I thought I had lost all these abilities to do any of these things, help anybody out, you know, motivate anybody, whatever. But y'all showed me that I was worthy to be here at the beginning, and then as I shared my story, y'all were like, man, I need to hear that. You know, I need to hear that, and so it just validates me. You know, it just makes me feel good because as an addict, I can really get down on myself really quick. So all these little points of positivity are things that I can just put in my hat, man, and just roll with it. Because I like to say positive, man. We can make ourselves miserable. We can make ourselves strong, Peter. It's the same amount of work, and there is no rank here. We don't have like a merit system. It's like, oh, he shared the best
Yep.
today, so he starts tomorrow in the front. It's
Yeah.
not like that, you know. So you know, have like qualifying sharing round to see who goes into the final four, right? It's not like that. So just come and share your story. Come and share whatever's affecting you in your recovery is what we need to hear. So um,
I
pass
love
that
that.
to you. Love you, bro.
Friedel, do you have a question for Peter?
I do. I
Freedom!
do. Okay. So how do comparisons to others affect your confidence or your self-worth? We'll say it like that.
Comparison to others in recovery or just in like
In general, in recovery. I mean, we're living both.
well, yeah, I don't think most times, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, comparisons, it's something I'm passionate about or that I'm trying to excel in. I do compare myself a lot. Um, the closest thing I can think of is because when I was, for an example of when I'm cooking or when I was a chef, I'm always comparing myself to other cooks or chefs, you know, who's better, who has better technique or who runs a better line or like that sort of thing. I played sports when I was younger, so I was always comparing myself that way.
What kind of food you cook?
I was a very small kid and always wanted to be bigger, faster, stronger. I mean, So I have lived a life of comparisons. That used to be how I measured myself, would be, and it was usually something that wasn't cerebral. It was always something to do with with my my body, or my technique, or my action towards something. It was never, and I've carried that a little bit into recovery. Um, and the reason that I think it's harmful, and why I brought up this topic too, is because it doesn't do anything for me, because my story is different from the next person. Everyone's here for the same reason, but a different path. Um, set your goals in stone, your path in sand. Everyone gets here different, with the same goal in mind. Um, the comparisons that worry me the most, or that I think will affect my sobriety the most, is when I see someone with 20 years go out. That scares the shit out of me. They're
Wow.
talking just like everyone talks here. They go into meetings, they go through service, they change their life, they turn around 20 years down the road, they go back out. That's terrifying. Um, I don't, because I think we all know that if we did that, probably wouldn't end well. Talking from a disease of the mind, allergy of the body sort of thing. Um, and I'm just speaking for myself here. I was so close to having a stroke or a heart attack by the time I did go in. That gift of desperation, Andrew, is, I mean, that's, I love that. I love that phrase, because that's what you need to
Me
have. A
too.
girl asked me at options where I was speaking for a little bit. She asked me, she goes, "What do you tell someone if they don't have that?" And every fiber of my being wanted to say, "You're dead in the water. You have to have, I feel that you really need that. You really need that you have to want to do this. Like, you have to
Yeah.
do the work, and the steps are there, and the suggestions there, and the people, and the support, they're all there."
Some people's higher power, God, God,
Yeah, yeah,
gift of desperation.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You need to have that. So when I hear people speak, and then that topic comes up of someone 20 years, or even 5 years, or 12 years, or 18 years, and they go back out. That's where I start to compare myself. And that's the part that kind of, the worthiness thing that I was talking about. That's dangerous. That's danger zone for me. And I understand that. I'm getting to understand that, especially after
Yeah.
Milan's, or meaning of the word understand. It's through experience. I'm still experiencing that. So I need to embrace that feeling, look at it, and talk to more people like I'm doing today. This has been fantastic, by the way. Um, to understand that that's going to be normal. I'm going to come across that fear and that doubt and that worry. And like, how, if this guy goes 20, or person goes 20 years and goes back out, my chances of doing that are that's where my brain goes. My chances of doing that are higher than me staying sober till I hit the dirt, right? That's not a shitty way. That's a shitty way to live, man. I don't want to live. Oh, what am I going to do in 20 years? What am I going to do in 8 years? Like, I can't do that. I need my day by day. But those
Yeah.
comparisons, that's where it's gonna break me, if I keep comparing myself to that sort of unfortunate circumstance. I don't want to say a failure, because I mean, it's not necessarily a failure. It's a part of a lot of people's stories, but I got to tell you, that's where the worthiness and my strength gets a little test, when I hear someone who I look at so strong and so powerful in service and in recovery, and then, oh yeah, so and so went back out, and you're just like, what the? It shocks me, it scares me. I think it's a decent fear to have, but I try not to have too many fears. But um, that's where I think the comparison is gonna hurt my recovery. I hope that answers the
Now, that was a
question.
beautiful
It,
answer. It
it
was so
was.
good. I was not expecting. It was like the opposite of what I was even thinking. Like, how do you even think about that? You know,
Can I say
like
something,
the
Peter? Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I mean,
No, go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
Peter, like, it's crazy, because like your mind is gonna focus on the other things. I messed myself up on that one, man. You really had a great answer for that, man. You really had a great answer. It was beautiful, and that moved me. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I
Great
love you,
question.
Peter.
It's
Glad you're
Great
here,
Love you,
man.
bro. Love you.
It's a great question.
In fact, I love all three of you. Guess who loves you
I love
guys?
you guys.
Take one guess.
You
You.
do.
That's right.
Love you back, bro. Love you back.
I
Love
need
you
a
back.
second.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need
right.
a second.
I
It's
Okay,
crazy.
can you
Yeah.
repeat the question, please?
Yes.
I can.
Mm.
All right. How does comparison to others affect your confidence, your self-worth?
Woo. Well, we all know comparison is the thief of joy, right? And I really love that phrase because I often see it stealing my joy. You know, like now I'm like, comparison, I caught you again.
Yeah, I got
And,
you.
I just want to say one thing is that the only person I know that literally prayed their way to willingness was young Gabriel. And when he shared about his, at his 2-year cake I was just at, it was like he was put into treatment by his mom and his daughters. He did not want to be there. He prayed for willingness, and that was the first prayer of his that was answered. So
Congratulations, young
you
man.
can do it without the gift of desperation. And the reason I wanted to say that was for anybody listening, there is
You
the
don't need that.
chance, but you're going to have to pray for willingness.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really amazing because I have been the person who didn't want to do it, right? But I didn't
Yeah.
even see that as an option because I didn't understand, you know? So
When did he hit 2 years? When did he hit 2 years?
I
Recently?
think it was the 16th of August, but his
Good job, young man. Good job, bro.
his
That
partner
makes me
was
happy.
gone away, so the cake was like the 26th or 25th or something
That's
like
a
that.
beautiful thing. It's beautiful.
Mm.
I'm proud of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
That's
So, okay. Question was comparison
Yes,
against
yes.
others. So in the rooms, it's like, man, how many times have you sat there and somebody shares and you're like, fuck, I don't want to go after them. Like because
Yeah.
and that feeling is 100% because of comparison. Like
Yeah.
that I'm not going to be as good as them or whatever. And and for me, it's like when I hear a topic, it's like it makes me go into myself about what is like a solution that has helped me on this topic. And then I try now to just like kind of just do a quick little prayer for some guidance because it's just like, man, I have no clue. I have no clue what somebody else needs to turn a corner. I have no
Yeah.
clue what somebody else needs as a life preserver today. Like, some days other people, they could need kindness and love. And other days they could need truth. They could need truth and somebody actually confronting them with truth, like, and I'm not, and it's so not for me to decide, and so, like, but it comes back to comparison. It's like, who am I to decide that they're better than me or that they're worse than me? Right. And so it's like taking that ego down because like it says in that 12 by 12 book when it talks about pride, like having that pity party of I'm the worst is a form of pride just as much as I'm the best. and
Yeah.
and so it's like wherever we are on that comparison, we're putting ourselves in a self-righteous position of judgment. Like we are saying that we're worthy to be the judge, and we shouldn't be. Like, loving completely means we're not the judge. And if I'm striving for more love, then that's where it is. And I think that that's all I got. And I love you guys. I am really enjoying today. Peter, I just want to say, man, you're fitting right in. This is a beautiful group here today, and
Yes.
I am very
Um,
grateful to be part of it.
Me
It's
too. I'm very grateful right now.
such
This
a
is fantastic. You guys
beautiful
are
way
great.
to start the day today, man.
Yes. Love
Oh,
it.
you're muted, Andrew.
I remember what I was going to say earlier, real quick, because your disease was focusing on that person that relapsed after 20 years instead of like focusing on all those people that like have 30, 40 years and that got through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy how we'll focus on that negative stuff. I couldn't
Right.
come up
Right.
with
Yeah.
that at the point. Go ahead, Miss Brandy. I'll take that.
All right.
I'm an
How do you
addict.
compare? We got to hear it again. How do comparisons to others affect your confidence or your self-worth?
That's a great question. That's a great question. my comparison to others before I learned a little bit about myself was really what it was, man. I didn't think I was worthy of this thing. And then when I got in here, I really had a problem with this. I felt like that person, because they had more clean time than me, I felt some kind of way if we were in a meeting, or if they shared better than me, or if they were more spiritual than I remember seeing people that were really, really spiritual and being like, man, there's no way I could be like that. And kind of counting myself out of that thing, not knowing that there's this world of possibilities ahead of me. So I read in this literature, whatever 12-step fellowship you attend, like read the books. I'm gonna go down fighting on this one. Like if you're having a hard time like identifying your way in and kind of seeing what and getting the gist of what we're doing here, just read the books, please. Like read the books. It's put so much it shines so much light on those in-between thoughts that we have. I'll keep it on me. Like all those little thoughts that I had of why and what and how and all that were filled in when I read the literature, you know?
Yeah.
And then when we get sponsors and things to help us guide us, every time I have a problem, I get pointed to the literature. My sponsor is a beast. He goes right to it. And the step working guy, whatever, he'll just pull it right out. And it's like his reference guide. It's my reference guide to my life and how I get better, man. It's like my open book test. I've said that before. It's the hardest open book test we're going to ever take, but like, just follow it. It's a very, very, very simple program made for very, very, very complex individuals. That's why it doesn't work for a lot of people, because it's like fire and water. It's like, it just doesn't go together. They don't mend well. But that's where we got to just lean into this fellowship, man. And staying clean must come first. Ultimately, as long as I'm not using, I'm doing okay, and I don't have to do anything more. I don't have to prove myself or do anything extra. I just have to not use. And a lot of times just not picking up is the right thing and the only thing you can do. And that's the best thing for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have to be this grand guy like all day. Sometimes we're just going to wake up in it. We're not there. We're just not all the way there. It's how the people live. We're not going to be perfect every day. We're not going to feel great every day. As we get older, that happens less and less. Right. So, comparison and stuff, the comparison part of the self-worth part, it just distorts reality for me when I get caught up in it, because it's kind of goes into people pleasing a little bit, where it's like, why am I feeling like I'm not worthy because of how I think you're feeling? Right. Like, because of how I'm dressed or acting, or, it's part of my disease. I have a dis-ease. It's a dis-ease way of thinking. So, and it feeds that shame, any shame that's there, it'll feed that. And it creates isolation isolation, excuse me. It creates spots for me to go isolate. It makes me want to go isolate too. So yeah, that's my question. It makes me blind to my growth when I'm doing the comparison thing. I can't see my growth when I'm comparing myself to you. I'm not doing me. My sponsor says this: if I'm worried about what you're doing, I'm worried I'm working on a relapse. If I'm worried about what I'm doing, I'm actively working on recovery. So worry about yourself is what he says. How free do you want to be, Frido? Frido.
That's right.
Free.
No.
Bell.
I
Miss
got you.
Dell.
I got you.
I got
you.
Ooh, Dell.
Okay, how do comparisons to others affect my confidence or self-worth? And like I was saying to Peter, like, this question could go in any area of our life, really. Bringing it back to like, I always say like I grew up with a mean sister. So like I grew up comparing because of projected lies.
Look at the doggy. Hi, doggy. Hi, doggy. I love him.
I was
Yeah, look, there he is, Milan. We get to see her doggies. Yeah.
Hi, Stinky.
Yeah. He doesn't know he's a dog.
They
None of them
usually
do.
don't.
But like I've always I've always compared myself in a lot of ways, and so much that I almost don't even have enough confidence to say that I have insecurities, if that makes sense. Like I would want anybody to know. And so I dealt with it with childhood and stuff like that, and growing up, but we get into my recovery, like I know that like I didn't think for a while I was like anybody else. Like I'm like either I wasn't as bad or they don't know how bad I had it or how bad I was. It was like, depending on the moment or the person I'm comparing myself to even. But it affects my self-worth so much because I I like gotta focus on myself. And when like I had to write that down. Like comparison is the thief of joy. Like when I compare myself to someone else, I'm taking away what growth I've done. And coming in these rooms and like shares from the get-go, like, oh, I don't want to share after that person, or like, how do I even share my story? Am I gonna say the right thing? Am I gonna sound you know, um, am I going to sound bad enough or like I don't know, like how am I going to be able to tell my story in a good way where I'm not all over the place or not using the proper words or like for example, a big one I do is not necessarily in recovery, but like I guess it is, but like when I have I go to church and there's some women that I go to church with fucking pray beautifully, so beautifully that I am not praying out loud in front of you. That's not going to happen because I ramble to God. I ramble. That's what I do. And sometimes it'll be 10 minutes later. I'm like, oh yeah, amen. And then it's like, so I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do it. And
Brandy.
so, but I've realized with that, and in recovery that it doesn't matter the beautiful words that I use or the harder like description words I use or how I tell my or what I do. It's my story. Like those are my words to God. It's my story, and it's to compare it really just doesn't give it the worth that it should have because like one of you guys was saying like all of our paths with Peter, all of our paths are different. Like maybe I didn't lose my kids or wasn't homeless, but it doesn't mean that I didn't feel the compulsiveness or the unmanageability or the self-hate or the all the stuff that came with my active addiction. And gifted desperation is like a foundation for me. It really, really is. Because I don't know if I could have gone on further if I wasn't that desperate. But so when it comes to comparisons, I remember the first time I ever did a share, I had bullet points and everything. Like, oh my gosh, like I gotta make sure I say the right thing because everybody's going to be judging me. They're all going to judge what I say. And man, it's not like that. It took away from my first share. It was, and I could say like, oh, it was horrible, but was it really? I shared my experience. So it couldn't have been that horrible. So taking away the joy of my first, time ever sharing my story with somebody, and to taking away from what it's really worth. So I've learned that, like, what is it? My comparison definitely does is it just needs to get out of the way. Like they say, like leave your feelings at the door, leave your comparison at the door. Like don't compare
Mhm.
yourself, don't compare other
Mhm.
people because it really just does take away the value of that experience, strength, and hope. Like I said, like we may not walk the same path, but we're going for the same thing. And maybe somebody didn't have it as hard as I did, or maybe someone had it harder, but this is today. This is what we're doing today, right now. And if I leave, somewhere and I always hear something from somebody, and I always do, but I go remind myself that I have stuff that can help somebody too. That's a big one. Like, well, do I need to like say anything? Because it's not gonna like, what is it really gonna do? They've lived a harder life than me. What is my, suburban mom fucking story gonna be, right? There's a lot there that's similar. And so I need to, instead of looking for comparing myself in a negative way, looking for an outcome that is like not worthy on my side, I need to just put that aside. And recovery has taught me that. I wish I knew this stuff and I had the self-worth that I have today when I was younger. I mean, we all think that, but I truly do because I'm bigger than I try to keep myself small but I'm bigger than that. And it's okay to see that and acknowledge it. You know, it's not being vain or ego. It is acknowledging my self-worth instead of
I love.
comparing. Yeah, instead of
Mhm.
comparing. So
Ain't no
I'll
room for
leave it
that
right there.
comparison on this
That was
pretty
beautiful.
pink cloud, this fluorescent pink ass. Come
Yeah.
on, man. No room for that.
That's right. That's
No,
right.
not on
Oh,
my watch.
Peter, do you have a question for me?
Oh, yes, it's my turn, I guess. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got one. Okay, so gift of desperation. How did the gift of desperation, I think, apply to all of us coming into recovery? How did if did the gift of desperation morph into a daily thing for you? Is it still something that you work with every day, or was it just something that kind of got you in the doors and it's just kind of
Mm.
you're not as desperate now, it's just a matter of working steps and living your life this way, or is there
I like
something
this guy, Milan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love him. So for me, my real moment of change was on the September 30th, 2:30 a.m. when I pretty much died in St. Joseph's Hospital in Vancouver. And, I am really lucky, but I have a completely photographic, audiographic, experientially, like I don't need to rewind a VHS tape and wait 3 minutes to go back to the start of that. I don't have to play the tape to the end. It's like I can close my eyes and be in fucking cold, dark, lonely hell, dying. Like I can be back there in like without even actually finishing the thought. I'm in that open, cold, horrendously fearful place, and so it's an unshakable part of my recovery. The pain leading up to that, like the last 6 months of my addiction and alcoholism, that was truly an entirely different period in the 37 and a half years that I drank and used. That period was filled with like massive anxiety, which I had not suffered my whole life. It was filled with incredibly incredibly stupid lies where like who the fuck did I think I was fooling? If you look at one picture of me,
Yeah.
like I look at pictures and I'm like, am I stroking out in the middle of that day? Like, but like so that was like that those lies were coupled with shame and guilt to an unaccountable level. Like it was just like so overwhelming. And then there was like a fear about everything that was so pervasive. So, when I say about seeing that girl on Wednesday, like I I took one look at her and there was a point where like her face she didn't know her mouth was open and she was making that blank like oh, like really that like almost like a weird shaped statue of fear and lost.
Mm.
And I remember looking at myself in the mirror for that. Like, man, I see the reflection of my fear and pain in people so quickly, like I'm glad to still be scared as hell of dying from drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
Like I have no diminishment of it. Like if anything, it's like coupled with this fucking amazing health and life I have now. Like I have so much amazingness in my life right now that it's like it has made that fucking gift of desperation look even further down because I've never been as high as I am now. Like the view from where I am right now is at a healthier, better point than I was ever at in my whole life. Like right now, being done smoking for 18 months and 12 days, I never had that.
That's awesome.
Even as an embryo. My mom smoked when she was pregnant. She smoked in the house. By the time she stopped smoking,
Yeah.
I started. Like I have never been able to breathe and run
Big
like
deal.
I do right now. Like
Proud of
there,
you, man.
so it like it makes those lows look way down in a well. Like it used to
Mm.
be like I'd stand and look at my low from like average, and now it's so much fucking higher. I'm like, holy shit, I'm never going back, you know? So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it is an absolute daily thing though. It is not a far and distant moment for me. And I really don't think it ever will be, but you know, if I'm lucky, and I certainly am grateful to have experienced it because it had such a profound change in my life. I'll leave that there and pass that up to Andrew.
That was beautiful, man. Beautiful. I'll take that
Mhm.
question, Peter.
Yeah, I'll try to phrase it the same way. Yeah, so the gift of desperation, can't even speak. That was awesome answer. Thanks, Milan.
That was beautiful, man.
The gift of desperation that you experienced going into treatment or into recovery at the early stages, how is that morphed, the same sort of feeling or mentality or thought process morphed into a daily thing for you going through recovery?
Yeah, man,
The
that's a
desperate
really
part.
beautiful question, man. That is really a good question. And so the gift of desperation, it's almost like something I can tap into. Milan kind of mentioned it, like when he sees that look on that person's face, it almost brings him back to that moment. Um, so it's not so much really a daily thing for me. It's like a reference point that I can get back to at any time. You know, my past doesn't like hold me hostage anymore.
Mm.
It doesn't enslave me, right? I use it today as my reference guide through these steps, right? I'm able to go back and compartmentalize certain things in my past and use them as a reference guide and then use them for growth, you know, going forward. So this gift of desperation is kind of it's like this grand thing that really got me here. It's this beautiful thing that got me here because like all the stars had to align for me to be in these rooms, right? We talk about being prayed into these rooms, whatever room we go to. Like my gift of desperation coupled with the people that still loved me, God,
Mhm.
thank God they still loved me, those few people that still loved me enough to try to get me some help. And if that all didn't happen, you know, I had a gentleman, he was my counselor. He was like a counselor therapist. I'm gonna get him on the show, Milan. I was talking to somebody about it today. He's an amazing dude, and man, like it's just like to be able for all those stars to align, for him to have a place for me to go, and my mother, and like just like having the insurance backing for all that, like the stars had to align for this to happen, for me to be here. And like I'm fully aware of like there was a lot of work on a lot of people's parts and a lot of um changing around their schedules, and then I put people through hell, man. I put my loved ones through hell, absolute hell.
Mm.
So like that whole process, that was my that it was all wrapped in that. So like I literally throughout the day, if I need to reference like any part of that, man, it's very, very easy. It just happens, man. It's like it just happens, whether it's in prayer, whether it's in service, whatever happens. I'm constantly reminded that I could be like Wendy and be 30 plus years clean and go out and be living under a bridge like that. Like that could be me. That could be me. And so you hit on it earlier, Peter, like that it's same with me. It scares the shit out of me when I see people that got decades clean going out of here. But then I got to think about like guys like my sponsor, like Miss Brenda's got 48 years clean. It's coming to these meetings every day. Bro, that
Yeah.
shit's crazy, man. I know I'm in the right place, man. I know I'm in the right place, but I'm gonna choose to be one of the ones that gets through this thing. You know,
Yeah,
because I can't think of it any other way. If I do, I'm done.
yeah,
I'm done, and I got to remain teachable too, you know, at all times. So it's a great question. Thank you for asking it.
yeah.
Love
That's
that.
awesome answer. Wicked.
Love you, Andrew.
Thanks, brother.
Love you
Hey,
back,
love you
man.
too, Peter. And by the way, Friedel, love you.
Freedom.
Mm. All
Good.
right. So
So
you throw me
Friedel,
again?
yeah. Do you need the question again?
Yeah, I always like to hear it again.
Yeah, so
Freedom.
as the gift of desperation, if it's still with you on a daily basis, how has it changed from when you first had that gift of desperation to get you in the rooms or into recovery, and how has it changed, if so, to become a daily thing for you?
I love that you asked this question because like I said, I love this like gift of desperation. Um, like I didn't look at it for for that when I first got into treatment, and like everything was wearing off, and I was realizing where I was. That one, it was a gift at all. Like to feel desperate is like I felt powerless, and which I learned later is a big part of it. But in that beginning, it's like, how can feeling like this be a gift? And so I really, had to just step back and realize that, like, I was so desperate. I had no other options. I had tried, myself only. It was a big old secret. There's people knew about it, a big old secret. So when you lie about your disease and you don't know how to ask for help. And so it was like, I got no other choice. I have no other choice. Like, I've everybody at my church and all my friends are going to know that, like, I've been living this lie, but I
They already
was,
know.
yeah. Oh yeah. Did they? Yes. 100%. I remember the last time that my husband caught me, um, he caught me, and then we went to this 4th of July party like a happy couple. So it was like, not only was I desperate for myself, because I've already like normalized or numbed this shock factor of me using, that I need this for my husband too, for myself, but it's going to reflect onto him and our relationship. And so it's something, I held on to, and I hold on to, and what it does for me today is, like, I may not have the same desperate, like the same thing, but when I think about that phrase, or when I hear someone else talk about it, or it comes up in a share or something, it brings me back to that moment of, like, how desperate I was to be here. So why would I ever want to change that? Like, one, why would I ever want to go back to feeling that way? But I never want to lose that feeling. Like when I think about how bad I was or my last use, it's not to flirt with my disease or glamorize it. It's to remind myself that how low I had to feel to get here. And it doesn't, like Milana said, it doesn't stop me from growing at all. If anything, it's like it boosted me to realize that that I'm worthy of something else. Because if I myself can't do something, like I was completely unmanageable. I was reckless, selfish, all of that, and I was desperate to change. Like, I can't take away my past and those moments that made me feel like that, but they definitely are a huge part of my growth. So I may not be like under all the catchy phrases and the sponsors and like the meetings, like that gift of desperation will always be a foundation for me. Always. It's got me to where I'm going today, where I went yesterday. And it doesn't have to be this like like darkness of like, oh, I was so desperate. Like, I was desperate. And that was the gift that I was given. And it will always be there. Like they say, like, whatever it's built on, like mine's definitely built on that. And for that, it is more of is a daily gift for me, and it may not even be something that runs through my mind every day, but it is definitely what gets me up and gets me to a meeting, or gets me to sit with you guys, or to when I pray, or even like so many things come from that. Like the moments I have with my husband in the morning, being able to be there for my kids, to nag my kids, to be consistent, like all that comes from that gift of desperation. So it goes from like this, like, even though it's a gift, but something that's so heavy, to like a beautiful outlining of my life at the same time. And and it and I'm grateful for the moments that I take that, close my eyes and I feel that first day of desperation. Like, and I think about, it just brings me back, it brings me to where I am today, and like how different I look at my life, how different my life is. My life is so different today than it was for some years ago. And I will always, like, forever, like, stand on that gift of desperation, even if it hits a little different. It's definitely the soles to my shoes.
Saying you're a magical motherfucker,
Love
Brandi.
it.
I am a magical motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what
Recovering
I
addicts
heard.
are
That's
magical
what I
motherfuckers.
heard. That's what I heard.
Now, Peter, could you ask
Wizard.
Peter?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Could you ask Peter? And be really polite to him. He's new.
Please. He's
Yeah.
my friend. I know him.
I'm a little
Listen.
shy.
Stop.
I don't want to end up comparing
Sorry.
myself to you guys either, so go easy.
That would be the thief of joy. So yeah, you have to answer your own question.
It's a great question,
Right.
bro.
I'm trying to think about it now. I talked myself into a hole. No, my gift of desperation I think I still do have it every day. I think it stems from that fear I was talking about earlier about um, getting a length of sobriety and going back out. Um, I'm almost desperate to stay sober. Um, I remember the last few months in my drinking for sure, where um, everything was every month just seemed to get more stacked and stacked against me. My doctor telling me horrible things that I didn't want to hear. Tests coming back worse and worse every time. Um, so like Milan was saying, I mean that thinking about that doesn't take me long to remember that feeling. Sometimes uh, I use it as a meditative thing as well. Like I try to really sit in it for a bit. Um, I'm a firm believer in knowing your enemy. Um, I don't try to hide my head in the sand. So if I'm fearing something or I'm worried about something, I try to face it head on, even it's like sitting in that discomfort. I think it's like working out. It's just tear those muscles to get stronger. So sometimes if I feel like I'm getting too comfortable or complacent, I I remember that gift of desperation, how horrible it was and how terrified I was. Even when I was fighting tooth and nail going into recovery, going into that first that drive up to Kelowna from where I live and thinking of every reason under the sun to wait another month or maybe this isn't the right place for me to go or maybe I could probably do this on my own. Is it really that bad? Like all these sorts of thoughts going through my head. I didn't know it at the time, but that's all fear. It's just all terror and fear and doubt and self-worth and all that sort of stuff. So the gift of desperation is still, I think it's still kind of with me even after the amount of time that I feel I've been sober. There's some days when I just exist, I'm just being, and I don't really even think too much about recovery or steps or meetings. I'm just kind of existing. And those moments or days that I have are just epic, man. Like I go to bed and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so amazing to be just so joyous and free like this and not have to just to be without having to worry so much about stuff. But then there's other days when um that desperation kind of kicks in, like this is not going to last. You got to do the work. You got to make sure you watch for that Mr. Peter, the old guy who still he let you have that day. He let you have that day. You did nothing about it. He let you do it because he's stronger than you. He's the whole push-ups in the parking lot analogy sort of thing, like, and it's true, but I also have to embrace the good days. I also have to embrace the harder days, the rougher days, those days when I feel that fear creeping up on me. And that's where that gift of desperation kind of is. I do have to kind of go and sit in that panic that I felt, that being imagining my heart stopping or stroking out, like just it's not necessarily the most best feeling, but it does help me come out of it because it's like, do you really, really want to go back there? Like, you have the power to not go back there. You have everything right in front of you and you're doing it. It's not like it's something I'm going to do like I used to do when I was in full on addiction and alcoholism. Oh, I'll get better next month or I'll it's the whole mixing beer with whiskey mentality that's in the book. Like, oh, I'll drink beer now. I won't drink whiskey or all this sort of like bullshit that we went through. It was actually I have the tools and I have the value and the worth and the power to get through this, but I don't think I would have it without visiting that desperate state. Um, I don't know if that's going to change for me as the years go on. I'm sure it's going to morph into something else. But I just feel that I part of my recovery I do sit in that gift, because it is a gift. 100% it's a gift of desperation, and I didn't get that until something broke inside of me and made me realize, like, dude, you know that this is going to be a better life. You just don't want to admit it. You don't know how you're going to live your life without drugs or alcohol. I mean, all that free time, you're not the same person. You can't react with people, all these negatives, but you're going to probably die. Oh, yeah, I know that. But I mean, everything else I got to think about, it was just this. So it's a meditative thing for me. Um, I try to make it into a positive, in the sense that I don't like feeling that fear, but I think at the moment, this moment that I'm in my recovery, it benefits me to remember that, to remember where I came from, and why I'm here now. And I needed to go through that to get here now. So
Love
yeah.
that.
Beautiful answer, bro. Great question and answer, man.
Okie
Thanks, man.
dokie. So Andrew,
Yes.
caring means trusting that our experience, no matter how ordinary, has value. What have you learned about the worth of your story over the years?
Well,
Oh wow. Yeah, wow. Man, look, so honest sharing, I heard and I read, because I do a lot. I'm a literature guy, Peter, but they say honest sharing is the antidote to our disease thinking, right? So coming out here and sharing honestly is what gave me hope, right? At the beginning. I didn't even know what y'all were giving me when I came in these rooms, and I was just sitting in the back of the class just listening uncomfortably. I didn't know, I had no clue what I was embarking on at that point. But then when I read, it's why it's so important to read that. Like, when I read that, it started making sense, right? Because these people would share these things, and sometimes they would just be bawling, crying their eyes out, right? And I'm like, why are these people sharing these things? Like, I don't, certain people would be angry or upset all the time. Some people would be really loving, and like, some people just were very emotional and cried every time, right? And I'm just going, why? Like, why? But when you come to, they say 90 meetings in 90 days, and the rest will work itself out. You make enough meetings, make a day or two, a meeting or two a day for 100+ days, you're going to see and you'll get it. Right? I can't even explain it to you. It's not an equation that I can like put out there, but like people sharing where they're at, you get a mixture of people struggling. You get a mixture of people sharing that hope and that experience, strength, and hope that we need, right? Sometimes meetings will go to where you have maybe a few more negative than positive, or vice versa, where you have maybe two positive. But that's why you can't just make one meeting a week or one meeting a month. That's in my program. That's just for me. Because man, I really get everything I need to out of every meeting I go to, and then I find myself being in a meeting just so grateful that I no longer crave drugs. I crave meetings now, Peter. Or I literally crave the message. Like, you talk about being desperate to stay clean. That's where I'm at. Like, I remember when it switched around, where I'm like, I remember literally knowing I wouldn't wake up the next day if I didn't have my drugs. I was so desperate, and I was so there with my disease. I remember when I would wake up and I fucking needed meetings just as bad as I need drugs now. Like, I need to hear this message. I need to get some kind of community, some kind of fellowship. Maybe a sponsee calls me, right? Like, something. I got to get something going on, because when I'm just idle, like, that's where it's like, hey, I can teeter totter on, maybe doing something that isn't so spiritual may be a better thing to do than what I was thinking about. That's why I get up, I read the JFT, I read the Just for Today, I read the Spiritual Principle of the Day. I try to somehow get tapped in. Of course, I pray. Prayer gets me tapped in immediately, but I'm not even really too sure what your question was, Milan, and that's okay,
I
because
think you
we're
knocked it out of the
excited.
park,
I
motherfucker.
love you, man. I love
I
you,
love you
dude.
too.
I love you.
It made
Miss
me think
Dell.
about it made me think about Andrew when you were like, today I sneak off to do a meeting in the bathroom. I don't sneak
Yes.
off to get high anymore.
I no longer
Yeah.
so I used to get fired at my job for doing drugs in the bathroom. Now I literally get in trouble for going to the bathroom and sharing. Like, I'll be in there for 5 minutes, and my boss will be like, "What are you doing in here?" And I'm like, "I'm not using drugs." Yeah, shit. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm talking on the phone, but you can write me up. It's like,
I
piss
know.
test
I
me.
know.
We're good, man.
when you first said that, when however long ago, I was like, oh, that's so true.
It
'Cause
was
I've
in a
done
meeting
it.
and it dawned on
We
me.
had
I'm
like
like, wow.
we had company over, and I was like, I'm gonna go. I need a few minutes to myself. And I logged in the meeting. I was like,
How beautiful is that? Oh man,
That's
breaking down
hilarious.
barriers.
yeah, right, right. So
That's
that was it.
funny.
Go ahead, Milan. Sorry.
That's so
Oh,
dope.
it's good. Caring means trusting that our experience, no matter how ordinary, has value. What have you learned about the worth of your story over the years, Miss Free?
All
Damn.
right. So this one, it's good because it's kind of like I kind of touched on a little bit before, like, when I first like I went in with treatment, I was like, nobody's a piece of shit like me. Nobody's a wife that's been like lying to their spouse for years. And I mean, I'm not alone. I'm not a piece of shit either. Let's make that clear. It's, I have a disease. And like, so when it came to me saying, my story, it's like and after getting over that, I'd come in and, hear somebody's story, and I was like, well, like, is mine gonna be compared? Like that I didn't wasn't that bad. And that right there that will hold you back so much, because it's not about the not yets, or the the where you've been, or whatever, how much you've done, who all that stuff. It is about like the feelings and the actions and the reactions we get from when we put these things in our body, that is the same. And that's what I need to talk about. Like, instead of worrying about if I'm going to say the right thing, I'm just going to tell my story, my truth, my experience, and being able to push aside what I think I should say, kind of like the praying thing. Like, I need to pray beautifully. Like, I need to speak like an addict, whatever that is. Like, that's putty, put that aside. And I've realized that, like, I have a story to share. It doesn't, and in my life, even if it's, so you get what you get from a share, and you leave the rest. Get what you want, leave the rest. And like, I was the mom that took my kids to their baseball and softball, church goer, wife, all a friend, all this stuff. But in that same moment, I was a closet tweaker. Like, I was the one that put myself in danger, my kids in danger. I lied, I stole, I did whatever it was, to feed that disease that drove me there, to feed. And so it's not the fact that, and I guess I've been to jail. Okay. So I've been to jail. Yeah. I forgot about that. But it's like all these things of like, how we got there. Like, we got this, it's the same feeling. It's the same disease, the same, this cunning and baffling that's going to get us to this place where we have no choice. And being able to talk to somebody and tell my story, and even not even just tell my story, but believe it, believe the recovery in it, not just like, okay, these are the drugs I did, these are the lies I told, and I'm in this meeting today. So much process of that is in there, of that we've all been through, no matter what fellowship, really doesn't matter. It's that same thing that drives us. And to be able to express that in a way where I believe it also, like, I'm not just saying it because I've heard it, like, I believe it. Like, this is what I felt when I came in here. These are the things I would do. Like, I got to chase my recovery like I chased my drugs. Like, that's true. That doesn't matter what drug it is, or what it is. We've all felt that before. And like, I always think about it when I say, like, because there's like one NA meeting around here. It's once a week, which is crazy because I live in a valley. There's a whole bunch of addicts. But there's the other fellowship, which is great too. But like, other meetings are like, 30, 40 minutes away. And I'm like, I don't want to drive that far. I would have drove that far for drugs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't say that often, because I call myself out all the time.
In
And
a
I'm like,
hurricane on a one-wheel
yeah,
bicycle.
in a hurricane,
Would have walked
straight up.
it.
With
Yeah.
a flat
Yes,
tire on
that
that
part,
bike.
that
Yeah.
part, that part, without a phone,
Totally would have.
Yeah.
without a
Yeah,
phone.
and for the person probably not to show up
Yeah.
or take 5 hours.
Just
Like,
on a
still waiting
chance that
for
it's
it, though.
there. On a chance that it's there.
Yes. Well, maybe, yeah, right. And so it's like, to know that the worth of my experience and is huge, because I don't have to have a big dark or glamorous story in order to be able to share recovery with somebody. You know, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that may feel the same way, which makes me want to share my story more, because like I wore multiple masks, you know, multiple masks. And it's funny because all those masks that I wore is who I am today. I don't have to take them off and put them back on, or interchange them, or whatever. Like I am the mom. My kids don't do sports anymore, but like, and I am the wife, and then I go to church and all this stuff. Like those are all the things that I had to pretend to be. And I feel like someone else can relate to that, because I can't. I mean, the feeling of hearing your story through someone else is so powerful, so powerful. I remember the first time I heard my story, and it was like it was my first meeting too. How ironic is that? And I knew at that point I was in the right place. And but you know, having the confidence in myself as a person, not just as an addict, because I'm pretty confident I'm an addict for sure. They wrote a book about me. It's called Basic Text, and it's
Dip
like,
that zinc and highlighter. Dip.
yeah, I don't highlight things. I just dip the book because it is me. And that if anything is confirmation to me that we don't have the same stories, but everybody, you know, like if you can read that and relate to even a couple lines in one paragraph, we're the same people. And I want to know how you got where you're at, and I want to be able to tell you what worked and didn't work for me. So to be able to not understand that, like, the parts of me that I didn't think were bad enough or good enough or smart enough, they are enough, and it doesn't have to be the same as you. So I think I answered that. I felt really good.
Wow, that was awesome.
Brandy's
That was
motto is paint a rock about it.
Paint a rock. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She
I
likes to
paint
paint
rocks
rocks.
today. I don't
No
smoke 'em.
smoke them. She don't smoke
Yeah.
them. She paints them. Let's go.
Mr. Barclay, caring means trusting that our experience, no matter how ordinary, has value. What have you learned about the worth of your story over the years?
Well, yeah, well, going to all the meetings, I don't think I've been to a meeting yet where I've walked out of there and saying, well, that was a big waste of time. I've been to parties and been to smokeouts and drinking events where I'm
Great
like, why
point.
the hell did I
Great
go
point.
there?
Yeah,
Great point.
that is a
So
good point.
my story, like you were saying, Friedel,
Freedom.
that when I heard my story, how I felt, and it only stands to reason that if I'm going to speak about my story, someone's going to hear it and probably feel the same way.
Mm,
Um, I used to think like that too when I heard stories when I first went into the rooms about people's stories, how they got in there. I was like, holy shit, how is this person even able to look at themselves, look at other people, like the people that they've hurt and the stories that they're telling? It's traumatic.
mm,
It's a lot. And then I think, well, I wasn't that bad. And then right away, I got to catch myself and go, but you're here. Like you're
yeah.
here because it was bad for me. Like it doesn't matter what my story helps somebody. I know that only because I talk to people and I've been in the rooms long enough. Like I did the 90 and 90, and even going through that, I started to realize that our stories help somebody.
Mm,
I always get something from every meeting, and I'm not unique. So
yeah.
people are going to get stuff from meetings, and I'm involved in the meetings. It's just a law of numbers in my like scientific almost, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I it took me a little while to feel comfortable sharing because I did feel like I mean we always hear people share and they've got this drunkalog where they go on about all the cows they tipped or fence posts they hit with their car or whatever the case is. And that's fine, that's their story and they're sometimes humorous and sometimes sad. Um, I always felt that if I'm telling my story was always this is what I was like, but this is where I am now. There was always that pairing between the two. It just wasn't me saying how bad my life was, and um, now I'm sober. It was the journey that I went through and the stuff that I've been learning in retrospect of that event that happened in my past. This happened to make me feel like shit and made me feel awful, and this is what I learned in the program to feel this way now about it. Um, so I think just in experiencing that getting that base of joy and going through happiness, sadness, and those more fleeting emotions, if I have that base of joy and understanding, then I can those emotions will kind of flow over me, and I can listen very clearly and also speak very clearly, and especially if it's a one-on-one or a three-person sort of discussion, kind of like today, where there's a lot,
Mhm.
you can kind of really grab onto the meat of a story or a thought and really rip it apart and get your teeth into it.
I love it.
So I think in general sharing from the day-to-day meetings, I tried to just be very stick to topic because the topics are usually very good, and I'm selfish. I'm just gonna say it. Like when I'm sharing, I'm just selfish. I want to get something off my chest, or I need to get it out into someone's ear, and maybe it'll come back to me. I know that in meetings, people are being helped by everyone that's in the meeting. The rooms are amazing for that. It's the fellowship that keeps me. That's almost my higher power. The fellowship of
Mm.
A that I'm in that does immense things for me. But I share for selfish reasons, and when I'm listening to someone, I'm selfishly going, how does this apply to me? Like I find that helps me at the most, and the byproduct is that is I hope someone hears my angle or my story, and it helps them as well. So, um, and that's once I stop doing that comparison thing or giving myself that value and worth. I mean, that just gets better and better as I go along as well. So, um, yeah, I don't know. That's really all I got to say about
That's
that.
awesome.
Short and
You're
sweet.
not alone in that
Uh,
feeling, Peter. At
uh,
least
uh,
with one
Yeah.
person on this
yeah,
panel.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you that
I
right
love
now.
you, man.
yeah, you
Love you,
too,
bro.
guy. Yeah.
Okay, caring means trusting that our experience, no matter how ordinary, has value. What have I learned about the worth of my story over the years? Well, you know, I think it's like I have come to see that there was purpose to that pain. Like it's like when Peter was just talking about having the message and the mess. It's like, first of all, that pain has shown me that now I have this identifiable thing that only addicts and alcoholics can understand. Like I would never go to an addictions counselor who wasn't previously an alcoholic or an addict. Like there's just no way I would
Yeah.
feel like they could legitimately understand that the process of becoming straight. Like that they would have terms and things that would mean nothing to the feelings that we've gone through, you know?
Mm.
And then it's also like what makes that story worth it for me is that I see us all as priceless miracles, right? Like, and that wasn't the case before. Like I've seen the struggle now. I've seen the redemption. And and so I'm one of those miracles. I'm not an outsider. I'm one of them. And like, and we're all shining that bright light from inside us. And then, like you never know what is needed by another person. So for me to judge my story I'm about to tell, how the fuck can I know what part of it you need if I don't know? You
Ding, ding,
know,
ding, ding, ding,
like
ding, ding.
there's days where I'm like, shit the bed on that one, and somebody's like, man, I fucking love that, and I was
Needed to hear that,
like,
bro.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just like, oh, and then there's times where I feel like, man, like the word of God came through me, and then nobody gives a
Nobody even
shit.
says bye to
Yeah.
you. Nobody even
People
says
are
bye to
like,
you.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. They're like,
Mhm.
whatever. So, I mean, for me to judge what is
That's
the
great.
necessary thing, but definitely don't, um, I definitely don't share a mess without a message. Even if my
Yeah.
message is I'm looking for a message or a way out of it,
Mm.
like that I'm asking for help, but it's like I just don't do that, you know, like and it's just not something yet that I'm able to even fully appreciate. And maybe as I gain compassion and growth inside this program, I will be able to appreciate it. But for me, it's like one of the things that you hear at the beginning of every meeting is please confine, you know, your remarks to, like, you know, either being related to addiction or alcoholism, depending on what meeting you're at. But they're all asking you not to talk about the lady at the grocery store in line. You know, that's essentially what that says to me, you know. And then, you know, like I feel that that we are now like co-authors with our higher powers, the universe in my case. So it's like my story's worth it because I'm now part of the perfection. I'm not external to everything else, you know?
Yeah.
Like and when you become part of, how can one part of perfection not be perfect? Right?
Right?
Love
You
it.
know?
Good point.
Yeah.
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 And
Great point.
and then, you know, one of the things for me that happened is like I'm a pretty fucking happy person a lot of times. I'm pretty positive.
Yeah, I
And
love
it was
that.
like I have felt sometimes like almost like getting shit shamed for being too positive. And I'm just like, whoa. Like it took me a little while to actually see that no, like I don't need to tone that down. I don't need to tone that down because some people, that's the only positivity they're going to hear that day.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
We've
so
talked
So
about
true.
this before,
yeah,
Milan.
yeah,
This is
like
a great point.
filtering my love, filtering my love for because somebody can't receive it yet is the most fucking ridiculous concept in the world.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
literally putting their scar on my heart. And
Yeah.
and
That's
I
good.
just won't do that. Like
It's
I'm just
avoiding accountability, bro.
and it's also almost insulting the universe. They give me this diamond to shine, and I'm gonna fucking cover it up
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
That's where
because I don't.
resentments come.
I
That's
think
exactly where resentments come from. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
it's loading a gun to kill.
And
Yeah.
it's just like I'm sorry. Here I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna be happy, and a great deal of that is 100% because of this program. Like,
Yeah.
how should I not shine the light of recovery? You know,
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
it's super important that that somebody does because the ones that were shone for me were the reasons that I was like, that's what I want. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yep. Yep.
and then you know, talking about doing the next right thing, like you know, talking about doing the next right thing, it always is the truth. And inside that contains the
Very
message.
true.
You know, like if you talk about a point where you had to either act principled or not, you don't have to search for a story. Like
Yeah.
that is the story, and that story is the truth. You know, and now you know, like I'm not afraid. Like if somebody's like, "Hey, go first," like it's going to embarrass me. I'm like, fucking right. Yay.
Yeah. Come on.
You know, like,
Let's go.
cause
Yeah.
then I can relax and just actually
Yeah.
sit for the rest of the meeting and not be
Brandy's
fucking
loving that one.
calculating
Brandy's
shares.
like,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Because
feel
Brandy's
that.
like me.
yeah,
I used to be scared of that wheel. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, you gave me the wheel. I'm ready for a random topic.
Right.
and
Yeah.
my sense of worth with my story is now like, you know, like my story is one of redemption, transformation, strength, love, acceptance, and growth.
Yeah.
And it's like I got nothing to fear and nothing to hide behind on that because I love it and I value it and I cherish it and I give gratitude for it every day and I just don't stop with that. Like, you know, and some days it's hard to feel as awesome as other days, but you know what? That's the day I have like a 30-second share and just tell everyone I love them because sometimes that's all they need, you know?
Just showing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Showing
Okay,
up.
so we are at an hour and 44 into the thing. What is everybody's calibration for meeting?
Yeah. 10 minutes. 10 minutes at the
Okay,
most.
Brandy?
Yeah, good. Whenever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we do one
golden.
lightning round? Andrew,
Yes.
you got a question
Yes.
for a lightning round?
I do.
Okay.
And Brandy, you know how when he did that list of things that he was just talking about, he said love first and acceptance was after love. So I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Or I'll answer that question. What? Go ahead. Did you have something to say? Did you want to say something?
I got to say that we know. I've acquiesced.
Just
I've
checking in.
acquiesced that
Just checking in.
loving completely to me
Just checking in.
encompasses acceptance.
Here he goes. Now he's going to play with the wording now.
No,
Friedel,
no.
I got a question for you.
No, I'm saying that it is greater and all encompassing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not playing with the words. I am saying it is greater.
Peter, we had this thing going when we first started this thing about love and acceptance, which one was like, more important and more powerful and all that stuff. And I, over the long haul, I won that one. We don't have to get into that conversation. And Friedel,
Sounds like another podcast.
why is it important?
Oh my God, we should have one called Love versus Acceptance. Why love
can do
wins?
that.
Why love wins?
Exactly.
Whoa.
Now that we've figured it out, we can talk about it. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's
so
do it.
we're about
Put it
to
on the
do
schedule.
lightning round, Peter. So I pulled up the timer, and we each get 1 minute. So Andrew's going to ask the question. He'll start with Friedel, then you, then me, then him. And we each get 1 minute to answer this question.
To take us out, Friedel,
Okay,
why
yeah.
is it important for you to continue asking this question going forward?
Asking what question?
Am I worthy?
Am I
Why
worthy?
am I?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the
I
question.
was like-
I'm being funny, but the question. Come on, you have a question. Why am I worthy? Why am I worthy?
Why? It's important because it's important to ask it, but to also to grow in the answer of it. Because I know I'm worthy, but there'll be some days where I question. But then here I am, like there's evidence around me that I am worthy. There's feelings inside of me that I am worthy. And so it's important to remind myself of that, by asking that question, am I worthy? And it's not the same as, am I worthy when I was, in that, desperate moment and stuff. It's, I am worthy, instead of, am I worthy? But it's a reminder of it. And it is important because my brain can manifest a bad day into a bad life if I wanted it to, or if I allowed it to. And so I'll leave it right there.
Friedel. We got
Yes.
complicated fart too, can't we? That's funny.
Yeah,
All right.
we
So
can.
I'm going to ask you, Peter, right? Why is it important for you to continue asking yourself this question? How am I?
Well, I think it's really important because as soon as I start to feel less than, not worthy, everyone's out to get me. Everything, every institution, every person, every place, every system I work with is going to be out to get me. Everything's against me. I'm going to get mad at everything. I'm going to start to turn it inwards. Resentments are going to grow, and I'm just going to drink again. Like I just pretty much, I'll start pointing the finger at everyone and why I feel so useless. It's their fault. It's everything's on the outside coming in at me. If I know I have power and value and worth, then I can overcome it. I can overcome the challenges and everything that's in front of me. As soon as I feel like I'm a piece of shit, well, if I'm treating myself that way, that's the way I'm gonna be. Like,
Yep.
so my worth has to grow. Like it can't. As soon as I start to, this resentment builds. We all know this. The resentments build. We start to drink to get back at everybody. It's like shooting yourself in the face to stop a murderer. It doesn't make any sense. So
Finishing it strong, Peter.
good.
That's man, you're a pro already, Peter. I love that, man. I love that answer.
I'm
All right.
surrounded by it's a great room to be in. So this is all good, man.
It is.
I'm feeding off
It
you.
is.
So my man, Milan, why is it so important for you to continue asking yourself this question going forward?
Well, I would say that probably at this point for myself, it's to check my ego.
Ooh.
Like, if am I sharing because I'm caring and I'm doing an act of service or trying to bring the message of this program to, like, am I doing the primary purpose or am I like watch Milan masturbate about his recovery? And the thing is that it's absolutely something that I gotta watch. Am I showing because I want to show off, or am I showing because I want to shine the light to lead you to freedom? Right? And that to me is a big part of it. Like part of my message has to be how to. It has to be a how-to manual, not a watch me manual. And that's it. I love you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
love
That's
that
beautiful,
answer.
man.
Awesome,
Beautiful
Milan.
answer. So why is it important for me to continue to ask myself this question going forward? Well, it's really, really important because when I stop asking that question, I start drifting, right? And I drift into, like you said it, ego. What does ego do? Does it? Edges got out. EGO, edges got out. Or pride, right? If I stop asking, I drift into pride. And what does pride stand for, Peter? This is my thing for pride. Pride, one of the primary reasons I die early. Think about that.
Yeah.
So when I drift into that pride, right, I might start thinking I have arrived, or, I've got this thing licked. I don't need a program. I don't need to go to meetings as much as I used to. I don't need to be of service to, like I used to. Bro, that's just setting me up for something bad. Jails, institutions, or death, man. I'm guaranteed one of those three. If I use drugs, man, I'm done. If I even sniff it. So, I could drift into that shame. Asking myself, how am I worthy? But bro, I'm connected. I'm connected to you guys. I love you guys, and I don't fall for fear, man. Fear, future events already ruined.
Boom. I told somebody else that one already, Andrew, and they loved it. Yeah.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Love you. Thank you for being here, Peter.
Well,
Awesome.
what
Been
a
fun.
great day, Peter. You fit in like you're just one of the socks in the drawer here.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like this
Yeah.
drawer. It's
Mismatched.
comfy. Smells nice. You got
Right?
bounce sheets in here or something.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're not old. We're not old, dirty socks with holes.
No,
They go
no,
right
nice,
Right.
clean, new.
We even
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
couple $100
Right?
bills in the corner. Up underneath it. You know what I mean?
Those are mine.
Nah, dang.
So,
Okay, I'm at
awesome.
this point. Or are we done?
we're done. But Andrew, you want to say something quick for the end?
Yeah, it's much better to have a program and not need it than to need a program and to not have it, man. And remember this: my feelings won't take me out, but my actions will. And I can't manipulate what God can orchestrate, man. So,
Love that.
I love
Friedel?
that. I love that.
You got to.
Yeah, I just want to say I love this podcast. This has been an amazing episode. And man, if you're out there and you're struggling with self-doubt or anything that you don't feel you're worthy of, just give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
Give yourself a chance
And reach
just
out to
do it.
somebody.
Get uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. So I love you guys.
I love you too.
Love you.
Mr.
Love you,
Peter
Brandon.
Barclay, final comment.
The new guy.
Yeah,
What's
no,
up, man?
fantastic experience, man. I can't say enough about it. I mean, like I said, the fellowship, people around you, support and love is number one to get through something like this. And yeah, we all have value. We all have worth. It's the best way to live. This life is the best way to live. You got to give yourself a chance. You have to give yourself a chance. We have value. We have amazing value and worth, and our hearts are beautiful creations. Our minds, our bodies, we're amazing things, and we deserve to be loved, and we deserve to give love, and take it. Just take the love. Don't push it away, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Take
Right.
yourself
I
off the
love that.
clearance rack. Take
And
yourself
That's
off
right.
the clearance rack. Let's go.
we
Yeah.
are all precious diamonds. It takes some work to shine. And I
Thank
really
you,
hope
Peter. You knocked
everybody
it out the
out
park,
there
bro.
gives themselves a gentle shine in their soul
My
to let it free.
God,
But I would
love
like to
you.
say to everybody here, God, grant us the
the
serenity
serenity
to accept the things we
cannot
cannot change,
Cannot
the
change.
courage to
Courage to
change the
change the
things we
things
can,
and
the wisdom to know the difference.
To know the
And
That's for
tune
right
in
now.
next
Love you guys,
episode
man.
for more recovery fun.
Thank you, Peter.
I love you guys.
Got it, bro.
Please help us help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.